So will the fourth stimulus check be sent out, folks? Well, in today's video, I will be answering the question of whether or not we will receive the fourth stimulus check this month. So you want to be sure to stay to the end of this video. Now first, you guys have to know this. Of the budget items Congress is currently considering this year, a fourth stimulus check might be included. The House and the Senate are focused on approving the infrastructure bill and working through the details of the budget reconciliation package. However, there is still plenty of public support for another payment. And there's also more money on the table. The IRS is sending millions of families monthly cash payments through the expanded child tax credit, with the latest check going out August 13th. The tax agency is also still sending supplemental plus-up payments for owed stimulus amounts. And there are also $1,000 thank you payments going to teachers and school staff in some states. Plus, there's an online growing petition for $2,000 extra per month in stimulus aid, and the White House has still floated the idea of sending $100 checks to those who are newly vaccinated.
Is it true, in fact, that the Secretary of the Treasury, Steve Mnuchin, has now raised with you the possibility of a broader stimulus deal once again?
Well, I wouldn't speak with him on what he may have suggested, but I will say that I think we have a clear understanding that if we're going to try to help the airlines, and we certainly want to do that, that it has to be in the context of a fuller bill. They don't have to happen at the same moment, but they have to be happening with the assurance of that we will go beyond the assistance to the airlines.
Do you agree that a $2,000 check must be approved? Leave a comment down below saying yes or no. And since the American Rescue Plan became law in March, the White House proposed several packages. President Biden is open to a range of ideas regarding stimulus aid. According to a June statement by White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, President Biden put forward what would be the most effective for the short term. And it has been months since Democratic members of the House and Senate argued for another stimulus check. So they must get the ball moving. In late March, a group of lawmakers asked President Biden to include regular stimulus payments in his next stimulus package. In May, several members of the House Ways and Means Committee made a similar request, citing increased poverty and spiraling debt among Americans. They noted that most people spent relief checks on monthly expenses or essentials.
It's very specific in the language, and that's why it's not just the money, it's the language as well, to make sure this gets done, because it is the way to crush the virus so that we can open our economy more broadly and our schools both more safely.
So, what did you spend your third stimulus check on, everybody? Feel free to tell me down in the comments below. Plus, the Change.org petition has collected more than 2.8 million signatures. It's calling on Congress to immediately send out $2,000 payments for adults and $1,000 stimulus checks for dependents. This bill must be passed, everybody. Congress must realize that the American people are still in need of financial help. Do you guys agree with me? Leave a comment down below saying yes or no. Now you guys have to know this as well. Top House Democrats said the chamber would move forward with voting on the budget blueprint for a $3.5 trillion healthcare, education, and climate package next week. They are rebuffing demands from a group of centrist Democrats to first vote on the $1 trillion infrastructure bill.
Our colleagues exactly what I know and every other member here wanted to do. But here we are because we have to be here. And we are here because back home in my state and all over this country, millions and millions of families are struggling to put food on the table. They are struggling to pay their rent. They are struggling to come up with the money they need to go to the doctor. And this hits me in a sense, in a personal way. I just received the other day from a colleague of mine in Burlington, Vermont, where I live. Burlington, Vermont, largest city in the state of Vermont, all of 40,000 people. And what a volunteer wrote to me, they said, this is the quote, reporting on a food drive in Burlington, Vermont, where I live. Quote, over 30 volunteers showed up to the Champlain School to help bag groceries and to hand them out to those who came out.
Wrote a letter on Tuesday night to the House Democrats. She asked them to pass the budget measure next week and said that any delay in passing the budget resolution could threaten the ability to pass this essential legislation. This means, folks, that our stimulus check is still being put on hold because of the Democrats and Republicans. They cannot seem to agree on sending out the fourth stimulus check. I want to see our politicians in Congress, everybody, the Democrats and the Republicans, approve more stimulus relief. And if you guys agree with me, then let's get this video to 1,000 likes. Now you guys also have to know that unemployment in the United States has dropped to 5.4%. Several states with Republican governors have already opted out of the benefits, and they slammed the extra money as a financial disincentive for the unemployed to get back to work. Some moderate Senate Democrats had indicated that they wouldn't support extending the benefits past September. Biden's decision not to seek congressional approval to do so was outlined in his letter to the chairman of the Senate Finance Committee. Who is Ron Wyden? And still, everybody, as the U.S. economy recovers, many politicians say that it does make sense for unemployed workers to continue receiving additional benefits. But those are only in states where unemployment remains high. The Biden administration said the Labor Department will be ready to assist states that want to use the existing unemployment insurance infrastructure for enhanced benefits that are funded by rescue funds. The Treasury Department also announced an additional $47 million in new CURA grants to help Americans find a path back to employment. So Biden is calling on Congress to take up the long-term unemployment reform. What do you think about President Biden, everybody? Do you support his move for more stimulus relief?
Unfortunately, there was not nearly enough donated food to provide a bag to everyone who showed up despite us planning on an increased need. The line of cars filled the parking lot, wrapped around the school, and went out onto the main road for half a mile. This represented a major uptick from the October event that we were involved in. This is Burlington, Vermont. Hundreds of cars lining up for emergency food, and the volunteers did not have enough food to distribute. They had to say to families who are trying to feed their kids, sorry, we do not have enough food. So what we are doing today is very simple. And that is Senator Thune and Senator McConnell and others have raised objection to the House-passed bill. And in the United States Senate, when we have differences of opinion, what we should be doing is debating that bill. So all that Senator Schumer is asking, all that I am asking is a simple request. Bring the bill to the floor. Not even asking you to vote for it.
Pelosi